How good will the New York Giants offense be this upcoming NFL season? We got to talk about it. I want to give a special shout out to the sponsor of this video, Manscape. So Manscaped recently just launched their Lawnmower 4.0. And listen, if you are a guy who does a lot of shaving underneath, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the perfect tool for you because listen, my first time shaving a couple of months ago went terrible. I had a bunch of scrapes, I had a bunch of bruises, and I also had patches because I didn't finish the job. So when Manscaped sent me the Lawnmower 4.0, I used it, and I was a little bit scared, okay? Because I was like, I ain't trying to give myself patches and give myself injuries like I did last time, my first time shaving. But when I used the Lawnmower 4.0, let me tell you guys something. It was a easy process. I had no scrapes, no bruises. It was no pain. Listen, if you're a guy who does a lot of shaving underneath, make sure that you guys go ahead and cop the Lawnmower 4.0 using my promo code JT for 20% off plus free shipping off your Manscaped purchase. Once again, make sure that you guys use promo code JT for 20% off your purchase plus free shipping. Your balls will thank you. Last year, the New York Giants had one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Now, they dealt with injuries. Daniel Jones missed a couple of games. You had their star running back in Saquon Barkley, who pretty much missed the whole entire season. You didn't really have that much talent at the wide receiver position, and you had a young offensive line that had a lot of struggles. As a matter of fact, it was one of the worst graded offensive lines by Pro Football Focus last year. Now, this year, okay, you have Daniel Jones going into his second year under offensive coordinator Jason Garrett's offense. You're going to have Saquon Barkley coming back fully healthy, and you have an improved group of wide receivers. You bring in Kenny Galladay in free agency. You pick up Kadarius Toney in the draft. You also have Dante Pettis, John Ross. You still have Sterling Shepard there. And on top of that, you have Evan Ingram, who was a Pro Bowler last year. So Daniel Jones has all the weapons at his disposal to be successful. Now, the next question that you have to ask yourself is, how is this offensive line going to hold up? How improved is this offensive line going to be in 2021 compared to how it was in 2020? Now, Joe Judge spoke about the offensive line because a lot of people were asking him the question why the Giants didn't spend many draft picks trying to address the offensive line. And Joe Judge said that him and his staff have a lot of confidence in the current guys they have on the roster at offensive line right now. Now, he said that that doesn't mean that they won't bring in more competition to compete with those guys, but Joe Judge said that he has a lot of confidence in the current guys that the Giants have on the offensive line right now. So Joe Judge is essentially saying that I have a lot of confidence in my coaching staff, and I have a lot of confidence in the young players that we have on the offensive line that they will be able to develop really well this offseason and throughout training camp and preseason, and that they should take major strides this season. Now, with Joe Judge having a lot of confidence in the offensive line, I understand it because the Giants have one of the youngest offensive lines in the NFL. When you have a young offensive line, it's going to come with a lot of inconsistent play, and you're going to have some growing pains there. Like, take the Miami Dolphins, for example. They also had a pretty young offensive line last year, and their offensive line had some struggles, and they also had their fair share of inconsistencies and growing pains as well. That's just what happens when you have a young offensive line. But the more experience these guys get and the more games that these guys play together, they're going to have good chemistry. And that's normally how good offensive lines are formed. Normally, great offensive lines have good chemistry. They have good communication. So I think Joe Judge really has a lot of faith in his offensive line. And we're going to see just how good this offensive line or how improved this offensive line is going to be this year, because it sounds like Joe Judge really likes the young guys that they have on this offensive line for the Giants. Now, you have Andrew Thomas. He struggled a lot last year, but hopefully he can pull it together this year. You have Matt Part, you have Will Hernandez. So the offensive line hopefully continues to develop like how Joe Judge envisions it to. Now, Evan Ingram. Now, when you talk about Evan Ingram went to the Pro Bowl last year. But when I made my video about how good I feel Daniel Jones would be, make sure that you guys go ahead and check that out. A lot of people got on me because they said that Evan Ingram was responsible for a good amount of Daniel Jones turnovers last year. Now, I find it hard to believe that Evan Ingram was responsible for 22 turnovers that Daniel Jones had last year, but I did watch a good amount of Giants games this year, and I do remember a couple of instances where Evan Ingram ended up having the ball go through his hands and ended up getting picked off by the defense and whatnot. But I feel like if Evan Ingram was just so bad, like how some Giants fans try to make him out to be, then how come he ended up getting selected to go to the Pro Bowl last year? Because the Pro Bowl is voted on by the fans. So obviously he was good enough that he garnered the fans' attention last year to get enough Pro Bowl votes from Giants fans. So it seems like a lot of Giants fans aren't really that high on Evan Ingram this year, which I can understand why when you look at the kind of inconsistent and lackluster play he had at some times for the Giants. I can understand why, but he also had his fair share of good performances as well, and he was the best player on offense that the New York Giants had last year, which may be a big reason why he was selected by a handful of Giants fans to go to the Pro Bowl last season. Now, with Saquon Barkley back, I think Jason Garrett is finally going to be able to run the offense the way he wants to run the offense. And remind you that despite how bad this offensive line was last year, they were still pretty effective when it came to running the football. They were 19th in the NFL and rushing yards per game with 110. Now with Saquon coming back, we're going to see Jason Garrett run the ball even more this season than what he did last year, because Jason Garrett's offense is all about setting up the run and then using play action to take shots downfield. And obviously this is what this roster is built to do, because they have a really good group of wide receivers when it comes to making things happen down the field. You got Kenny Galladay, who is one of the best jump ball 50-50 ball wide receivers that we have in the league. He's also a good red zone target. You have Darius Slayton, I thought was going to break out last year for the Giants. He kind of got held back by injuries, and he also was inconsistent as well. But I think he's a really good number 2 wide receiver. You got Kadarius Toney, who's going to be the guy who makes things happen underneath. He's going to get a lot of that yak yardage, which if you guys don't know what yak is an abbreviation for yards after the catch. So Kadarius Toney, you have your home run threat who's going to be able to make things happen underneath. You also got John Ross, who is another good deep threat who could take the top off the defense. It just depends on can he stay healthy. Now, John Ross is considered a bust by many people, which I'm not going to disagree with, but when John Ross is on the field and he actually has a fair chance to make plays, he has been pretty productive. Like during his time for Cincinnati, when he was on the field and he was getting a good amount of snaps and he was actually healthy, he ended up being pretty solid at times. So I like this wide receiving group, and this wide receiving group is definitely reflective of the kind of offense that Jason Garrett wants to run, using a lot of play action and attacking downfield. Now, of course, with Saquon coming back, you're going to have a guy who can do it all. Not only is he a home run threat when he runs the football, but he's also really good in the passing game as well. Now, it's all going to come down to Daniel Jones, because at the end of the day, you can blame the turnovers on whoever else you want to. He still has to be more careful with the football, because this guy has a lot of fumbling issues. Sometimes he'll make bad decisions in the red zone, and no matter how much you guys want to defend him or whatnot, he definitely has to step up his play this year, because his play is going to determine if the New York Jets well, not New York Jets, but if the New York Giants are going to be a playoff team or not, is going to be on the shoulders of Daniel Jones. On top of that, the New York Giants have a really good defense as well. So for Daniel Jones, if he isn't the guy who can get the job done, then the New York Giants are going to miss out on the playoff. But if Daniel Jones can end up having a really good season, at least a solid season, then I definitely expect the New York Giants to make it to the playoffs this year. I feel like there's no more excuses for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has a great group of wide receivers. He has Saquon back. Can the offensive line hold up is another question, but it seems like this Giants coaching staff trusts their ability to develop the young guys that they have on this offensive line, and I feel like Joe Judge, I believe in Joe Judge a lot, so I'm going to take his word, and I'm going to say that this offensive line should be improved, because if Joe Judge believes in his offensive line and everybody else for the Giants staff believes in his offensive line, then I definitely believe that this offensive line should take some major leaps forward in 2021 this season compared to what it was last year. So You guys let me know how you guys feel about the New York Giants offense this upcoming season. How good do you guys think they will be? Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.